Well, what happened is I had done his show many, many times and considered him a friend of mine. And all of a sudden, a whole new brand of humor. In that humor, questioning my masculinity.
Implying you were gay?
Yes.
Johnny Carson's Tonight Show wasn't just late-night TV. It was literally the place where America tuned in as if it were church. But here's the part nobody talks about. Behind that charming smile, Carson kept a secret mental blacklist of guests he believed were genuinely terrible human beings. And trust me, the stories tied to that list are wild. And as we dive into the 14 moments producers prayed you'd never find out about, just stick with me till the end, because the last few will make you question everything you thought you knew about late-night history. Number 14. Joan Rivers' fallout with Carson. Few professional breakups in television history match the bitter intensity of the fallout between Johnny Carson and Joan Rivers. Their relationship's collapse remains among the most painful moments Carson producers couldn't erase from entertainment lore. After struggling for nearly a decade in comedy, Rivers finally made her breakthrough appearance on The Tonight Show in February 1965. Carson immediately recognized her talent, declaring on air, "You're going to be a star." This pivotal moment transformed Rivers' career practically overnight. Throughout the following years, Rivers became not just a frequent guest, but also a Tonight Show writer. By 1983, she had secured the coveted position of Carson's permanent guest host. For 20 years, Rivers remained loyal to Carson despite receiving offers to host her own programs. She regularly credited him for launching her career, even inviting him as her first guest when she briefly hosted a daytime talk show in 1968. Everything changed in early 1986 when Fox Television Network approached Rivers with a groundbreaking offer, $10 million to host her own late-night show, making her the first woman to helm such a program. The deal also included hiring her husband, Edgar Rosenberg, as producer. During secret negotiations, Rivers made the fateful decision not to inform Carson until plans were finalized. Before she could personally deliver the news, information leaked to the press. Rivers claimed she tried repeatedly to reach Carson, but when they finally connected, he immediately hung up on her. Following this perceived betrayal, Carson never spoke to Rivers again. He effectively blacklisted her from The Tonight Show, with producers warning potential guests they would be banned from Carson's program if they appeared on Rivers' show. The Fox show quickly faced troubles. Ratings declined. Affiliate stations refused to air it, and Rivers clashed with executives. When Fox ordered Rivers to fire her husband as producer, she refused, resulting in both being terminated in May 1987, just 7 months after the show premiered. Most devastatingly, Rosenberg ended his life 3 months later. Carson's ban on Rivers extended beyond his 1992 retirement, with successors Jay Leno and Conan O'Brien maintaining it out of loyalty to Carson. Only after 26 years did Jimmy Fallon finally welcome Rivers back to The Tonight Show in 2014. The Tonight Show is that everyone remembers the laughter, the celebrity banter, and Johnny Carson's effortless charm. But what most people never saw were the moments that had the entire studio holding its breath. So as we dive into the list, settle in, because what you're about to hear will change the way you see Johnny Carson forever. And trust me, some of these moments are so shocking you'll want to watch till the very end, because the final one, it's the kind of twist that makes you pause the video and ask, wait, how did they hide that? Keep watching till the end. Number 13. Wayne Newton's threat to Carson. Behind the curtain of The Tonight Show existed a heated feud that almost turned physical when Wayne Newton stormed NBC's offices to confront Johnny Carson face to face. Initially, Carson and Newton shared a cordial relationship, with Newton appearing on The Tonight Show multiple times. I had done his show many times and considered him a friend of mine, Newton explained during a 2007 interview with Larry King. At some point, this friendship soured when Carson began targeting Newton with a new brand of humor. All of a sudden, a whole new brand of humor started to be displayed by him, questioning my masculinity, Newton stated. These jokes weren't isolated incidents. According to Newton, Carson encouraged other comedians to join in with jokes about his lack of manhood. The root cause? Many sources point to Newton getting the upper hand in a bitter battle to purchase the mob-controlled Aladdin Hotel in Las Vegas. Carson was reportedly furious about losing the deal, with his partner Ed Nigro admitting, "We were very angry and very upset." After attempting to reach Carson through agents, managers, and attorneys for approximately a year and a half, Newton took drastic action. He walked unannounced into Carson's Burbank office, where producer Fred de Cordova was meeting with Carson. Newton asked de Cordova to leave, then delivered an ultimatum. "These jokes about me will stop, and they'll stop now or I will kick your ass." Carson reportedly tried diffusing the situation by claiming he was Newton's biggest fan, yet Newton wasn't having it. "I am here to straighten out whatever your problem is, and whichever way you want to straighten it out is fine with me," Newton recalled, telling Carson. Thereafter, Carson allegedly stopped the jokes, but remained bitter. He reportedly declared he was through with Las Vegas, adding, "You can take the whole city and drop it in Lake Mead." The feud intensified when Newton was accused of having mafia connections, allegations he firmly attributed to Carson's influence. All of that emanated from Johnny Carson's influence, Newton insisted. This led Newton to file a libel suit against NBC, winning a $5.2 million judgment that was ultimately overturned in 1990. The financial toll proved substantial. Newton filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in 1992, largely due to debt from the NBC lawsuit. Their animosity never resolved, with Newton still referring to Carson as a mean-spirited human being years after the confrontation. Number 12. Charles Grodin's on-air challenge. Charles Grodin elevated the art of awkward television by transforming his Tonight Show appearances into a running critique of Carson himself. Unlike typical talk show guests eager to promote their latest projects, Grodin pioneered a subversive approach that mocked the standard conventions of celebrity interviews. His appearances featured a curmudgeonly persona deliberately challenging the fatuousness of canned stories and predictable jokes. Grodin's stone-faced routine never broke character, creating a unique form of high-status anti-comedy. Carson recognized Grodin's distinctive approach early on, putting him under exclusive contract with The Tonight Show in 1973, an honor previously extended only to David Steinberg and Joan Rivers. This contractual relationship highlighted how valuable Carson found Grodin's unpredictable presence, despite the tension it created. Throughout multiple appearances, Grodin directly challenged Carson's sincerity with the recurring accusation that the host didn't genuinely care about his guests. In one particularly memorable 1990 exchange, Grodin flatly asked Carson, "You don't really care what I have to say, do you honestly?" When Carson jokingly admitted, "I got to do an hour a night, I'm looking for warm bodies," Grodin pressed further. "You've reduced the entire world situation to an opening monologue." On another appearance, after being asked about previous censorship, Grodin launched into an awkwardly detailed story about impotence tests involving postage stamps, seemingly testing how far he could push broadcast standards. These confrontational appearances often polarized viewers. Grodin later revealed, I had even made my friends uncomfortable when they watched me on the show. They would tell me they'd leave the room when I came on, or stay and watch, peeking through their fingers. Occasionally, studio audiences would actually hiss at Grodin's perceived rudeness, prompting Carson to hold up his hand reassuringly, saying, "It's all right. I'm used to it." After one particularly tense appearance where Grodin walked off set, claiming, "The unfunny environment makes it impossible to get laughs," executive producer Freddie de Cordova reportedly declared, "We won't be seeing Mr. Grodin for a while." Talent coordinator Bob Dolce admitted being baffled by Grodin's unpredictability, once telling him, "I have no idea who you are once you're out there." Number 11. Shelley Winters throws a drink. A clash of personalities erupted into physical confrontation when British actor Oliver Reed and American actress Shelley Winters appeared on The Tonight Show in September 1975, creating one of late night's most replayed moments. During his first Tonight Show appearance, a visibly intoxicated Reed sparked controversy with his chauvinist views. When discussing American intimidation by the British, Reed boasted, "Most of them, you see, we've made love to," prompting Winters to quip, "I would have remembered." As the interview progressed, Reed repeatedly commanded Winters to stop talking and be quiet. Reed subsequently proclaimed women belonged in the kitchen looking after her man and children. When audience members objected, Reed dismissively responded, "Shh, quiet, woman." Moreover, he declared, "Women's liberation, madam, will never survive, not while I'm in the kitchen." After enduring Reed's remarks, Winters made an unexpected return to the stage. As Reed politely stood to greet her, Winters unceremoniously poured whiskey directly onto his head before silently exiting. The audience erupted in wild cheers, whistles, and applause at her defiant action. Carson remained noticeably stunned as whiskey dripped from Reed's hair, seemingly unsure how to salvage the situation. Although visibly shocked, Reed maintained remarkable composure, immediately resuming his anti-feminist commentary. "I think that women's liberation sometimes does extraordinary things." In subsequent interviews, Reed downplayed the incident as a giggle, explaining, "She's a showman, and I'm a showman, and that's our business." Despite the controversy, the moment quickly became one of the most talked about and frequently replayed clips in Carson show history. There's something strangely thrilling about discovering the things producers desperately hoped we'd forget. Johnny Carson's Tonight Show wasn't just legendary for its comedy. Oh no, it was legendary because unpredictable things happened when the cameras were rolling. So as we count down the 14 most shocking moments that were almost buried, I want you to stay with me till the end, not just because the final moment will absolutely blow your mind, but because every step of this journey uncovers another layer of late-night history they never wanted us to see. And if you think you know Carson, trust me, you don't. Not yet. Number 10. Animal chaos on live TV. Wild animals brought unpredictable mayhem to The Tonight Show, creating some of the most memorable moments producers couldn't control, regardless of preparation. As the San Diego Zoo's ambassador, Joan Embery appeared nearly 70 times on Carson's show, though she personally estimated closer to 100 appearances. These segments showcased everything from baby elephants that painted to tarantulas crawling across Carson's hand. Embery's animal presentations became audience favorites, primarily because viewers never knew what might happen next. One particularly infamous moment occurred when a pygmy marmoset jumped from Embery's arm to Carson's, then climbed to his shoulder before settling atop his head and urinating. Essentially creating late-night gold, Embery calmly explained the monkey was simply content and marking its territory. Notably, a Burmese python created another unforgettable incident when it wrapped around Carson unexpectedly. Despite Embry's earlier warning never to put snakes around one's neck, the python became overly friendly, generating uproarious audience laughter. Perhaps most revealing was Carson's genuine terror during a cheetah segment. After confidently declaring, "If you look an animal right in the face and talk to them, then they know you're not scared," the cheetah immediately lashed out, sending Carson racing into Ed McMahon's arms. His genuine panic contrasted sharply with his typically composed demeanor, proving even television royalty had its limits. Number 9. Zsa Zsa Gabor's cat joke myth. Among the most widely circulated tales from The Tonight Show involves a risque exchange that supposedly occurred between Johnny Carson and Zsa Zsa Gabor. Yet, unlike other shocking moments, this one never actually happened. The purported incident features Zsa Zsa Gabor holding a cat on her lap, asking Carson, "Would you like to pet my pussy?" To which Carson allegedly replied, "I'd love to, but you'll have to remove that damn cat." This supposed exchange has become one of television's greatest manufactured memories. Throughout decades, millions have claimed to witness this moment firsthand. Even though no recording exists, both Carson and Gabor explicitly denied this exchange ever occurred. Indeed, when Jane Fonda directly asked Carson about it during a 1989 appearance, he firmly responded, "No, I think I would recall that." Obviously, The Tonight Show was never broadcast live during Carson's tenure. It was taped earlier each evening, allowing producers to remove any potentially offensive material. Even the word "damn" would likely have been censored during the show's early years, making the alleged exchange impossible to air. The story demonstrates remarkable adaptability, with different actresses, including Raquel Welch, Anne Margaret, and Farrah Fawcett, substituted for Gabor depending on when someone first heard the tale. Certainly, the story's persistence reflects people's desire to believe it's something Carson might have said. Throughout years of retellings, this fabricated moment has become more famous than many actual Carson incidents. The myth simply represents what many viewers wished had happened, rather than television reality. Number 8. Carson forgets his monologue. Even the most experienced television host can lose his train of thought on live TV. In December 1988, Johnny Carson demonstrated why his improvisational skills made him a broadcasting legend. During his 1988 Christmas monologue, Carson was midway through jokes about shopping malls and the holiday season when disaster struck. First, producer Freddie Decordova interrupted from offstage. Seconds afterward, a beeper suddenly went off in the audience. These dual distractions completely derailed Carson's thought process. Pausing mid-joke, he looked directly at the camera with perfect comedic timing, asking, "Anybody remember what I was talking about?" Instead of panicking, Carson transformed the awkward moment into comedy gold. "I know you're not doing well when a guy calls for the paramedics during the monologue," he quipped as the audience roared. Utilizing the interruption, he smoothly pivoted to new material about Reagan, blaming the deficit on what he called the Iron Triangle, comprising news media, Congress members, and special interest groups. The studio audience erupted with laughter throughout the mishap. As Carson self-deprecatingly acknowledged his struggle, viewers appreciated seeing his human side beneath the polished exterior. His ability to recover with humor ultimately strengthened his connection with fans. This unscripted moment became one of many cherished instances where Carson's quick wit turned potential embarrassment into entertainment, demonstrating why producers generally allowed him significant leeway, even when things went unplanned. Sometimes the biggest secrets in television aren't scripted scandals. They're the unpredictable things that happen live, right when millions are watching. Johnny Carson's Tonight Show was a playground for chaos, and producers spent years trying to keep certain moments under lock and key. But as with all secrets, the truth eventually surfaces. Today, we're unpacking the 14 moments so explosive that producers tried everything to hide them, from awkward celebrity confrontations to jokes that went too far to incidents nobody could have predicted. And believe me, every single moment reveals a new side of Carson's world. So get comfortable, because this ride only gets crazier the further we go. Number 7. Don Rickles roasts Carson. Throughout Carson's 30-year run, Don Rickles turned insult comedy into an art form whenever he appeared on The Tonight Show, creating moments producers happily aired rather than hid. Rickles, affectionately called Mr. Warmth by Carson, unleashed merciless jokes at the host's expense. Johnny has been a friend of mine for a lot of years, and I want to say publicly, he's definitely cheap. The last time this man went to his wallet, Chester Morris's picture moved, Rickles declared during one appearance. Straight away, he would target Carson's appearance. "You're dressing like some Chinese yo-yo or something. You look like Hong Kong Charlie." His roasts spared no one, calling Ed McMahon a wino and telling Carson, "Stop trying to be graceful. They asked you to get out, you're walking away." Undoubtedly appreciating Rickles' talent, Carson put him under exclusive contract in 1973. Throughout their exchanges, Carson typically responded with genuine laughter or mock offense, often attempting comebacks. Simultaneously, he recognized Rickles' value, once roasting him at the Friars Club. "I've seen Don entertain perhaps 50 times, and I've always enjoyed his jokes. But when you see Don's act, which evidently has all the subtlety of an elephant's prick." Their dynamic revealed Carson's willingness to be vulnerable, markedly different from his polished host persona. This authentic friendship allowed brutal honesty that would have ended other careers, yet cemented their legendary status in television history. Number 6. Eva Gabor's Twister segment. A single television appearance in 1966 rescued a failing game from retail extinction when Eva Gabor and Johnny Carson demonstrated Twister on The Tonight Show. On May 3, 1966, Carson and actress Eva Gabor, then famous for starring in the sitcom Green Acres, introduced Milton Bradley's party game Twister to millions of viewers. The demonstration quickly turned playful as Gabor enthusiastically asked, "What's this, Johnny?" Upon seeing her interest, Carson joined her on the mat in what became an unexpectedly suggestive presentation. Gabor got down on all fours, with Carson climbing on top of her as they demonstrated the game's positioning. Her already low-cut dress shifted even lower during their movements, creating a memorably risque moment that had the studio audience erupting with excitement. Prior to this broadcast, Twister faced criticism from retailers who weren't sure what to make of a game requiring adults to intertwine their bodies in close physical contact. Given the conservative standards of 1960s television, the sight of Carson and Gabor in compromising positions pushed boundaries of what network executives typically allowed. In the long run, this daring demonstration proved precisely what the struggling game needed. Milton Bradley had been planning to pull Twister from the market entirely before this fortuitous appearance. As soon as the next morning following Carson's playful demonstration, customers lined up 50 deep at Abercrombie & Fitch to purchase copies. Ultimately, this single Tonight Show segment transformed Twister from a commercial disappointment into a cultural phenomenon. The overnight success convinced Milton Bradley to reverse their decision to discontinue the product. Number 5. Tiny Tim's televised wedding. Television history was made when Tiny Tim married Miss Vicki Budinger live on The Tonight Show in what became an unprecedented ratings phenomenon. What began as Johnny Carson's casual suggestion transformed into reality when Tiny Tim and Miss Vicki decided to exchange vows on national television. On December 17, 1969, the eccentric falsetto singer Herbert Corey, Tiny Tim, and his 17-year-old bride Victoria Budinger, Miss Vicki, said, "I do," amid 10,000 imported Dutch tulips decorating the set. The ceremony lasted approximately 6 minutes, followed by a traditional interview with Carson. Beforehand, Carson addressed speculation during his monologue. "People have thought we have been kidding about Tiny Tim being married on the show. We are not. It happens tonight." The wedding drew an astonishing 45 million viewers, becoming the highest-rated talk show episode ever aired up to that point. Remarkably, this pre-recorded ceremony ranked as the second highest-rated television broadcast of the 1960s, surpassed in viewership only by the moon landing. Nearly 1/4 of the American population tuned in to witness this unprecedented televised nuptial. Unlike today's reality TV-saturated landscape, Americans had never seen a real wedding broadcast on television. After the ceremony, instead of champagne, Tiny Tim prepared glasses of milk and honey for himself and his bride, explaining, "Miss Vicki got me out of alcohol." Overall, the couple remained married for almost 8 years and had 1 child. No matter how polished a show looks on screen, the real story is always in what they didn't want you to see. And Johnny Carson's Tonight Show had plenty of those hidden gems. Behind the laughter were moments that blindsided the crew, embarrassed guests, or spiraled so far off script that producers nearly yanked the plug mid-broadcast. Today, those buried surprises are finally stepping out of the shadows. And trust me, each one is more unbelievable than the last. But before we dive in, make sure you stay with me until the very end. The final moment on this list is the one people whispered about even decades later. The one that changed how producers handled the show forever. Stick around, because this countdown isn't just shocking, it's a wild tour into the untold side of late-night history. Number 4. Peter Popoff Exposé. Johnny Carson's distaste for frauds turned The Tonight Show into an unexpected platform for scientific skepticism when magician James Randi brought evidence of televangelist Peter Popoff's deceptive practices to the program in 1986. Skeptic James Randi became suspicious of Popoff's supposed divine revelations about audience members' illnesses and personal details. Randy's team discovered Popoff wore what appeared to be a hearing aid, unusual for someone claiming healing powers. Utilizing electronic surveillance equipment at Popoff's revival meetings, Randy captured transmissions revealing Popoff's wife, Elizabeth, feeding him information through a hidden earpiece. This information came from prayer cards audience members filled out beforehand, collected by Popoff's staff. In May 1986, Randy presented his findings on The Tonight Show. Carson, having invited Randy without even seeing the evidence first, appeared visibly stunned by the footage. The segment showed Popoff first miraculously identifying audience members and their ailments, then replayed with Elizabeth Popoff's intercepted radio instructions overlaid. In one recording, Elizabeth described an audience member as "that big nigger in the back." Following Carson's broadcast, Popoff's ministry collapsed. His monthly donations, previously exceeding $500,000, plummeted. By September 1987, Popoff declared bankruptcy, listing over 790 unpaid creditors and debts, exceeding $1 million. Nevertheless, Popoff eventually returned to televangelism, reportedly attracting $23 million from viewers in 2005 alone. Number 3. Raquel Welch walks off. legendary sex symbol. Raquel Welch's appearance on The Tonight Show became infamous for how quickly professional banter transformed into tension that permanently damaged her relationship with Johnny Carson. The incident began when Carson playfully teased Welch about her iconic role in the film 1,000,000 Years BC. What started as typical talk show banter unexpectedly shifted when Carson delivered a comment that visibly struck a nerve with the actress. According to some accounts, the exchange involved a small stuffed cat or kitten prop, with Carson making an off-color double entendre, saying he wanted to pet the kitty, followed by a lewd punchline implying more than literal petting. Despite Welch initially laughing off the comment, the playful atmosphere quickly deteriorated. Naturally known for her strong personality, Welch responded with a sharp retort that caught both the audience and Carson off guard. The tension became palpable, as viewers sensed the playful exchange had crossed a line. Specifically, this moment marked a turning point in their professional relationship, ultimately leading to Welch's decision to never return to The Tonight Show again. Effectively, the fallout from this event resonated through Hollywood, highlighting the precarious nature of fame. According to some accounts, NBC and Carson's team downplayed the incident, yet the moment became part of television history. This uncomfortable exchange illustrated the delicate balance between humor and professionalism in the entertainment industry, where a single moment could significantly alter a career trajectory. Number 2. Carson's veto power over reruns. Beyond hosting television's most influential talk show, Johnny Carson exercised unprecedented control over his legacy through contractual powers that gave him final say on which episodes would live on after their initial broadcast. Unlike most television personalities, Carson negotiated extraordinary contractual rights that granted him complete authority over which episodes could be rerun. This unusual arrangement meant that any segments Carson found personally embarrassing, politically controversial, or simply substandard could be permanently shelved at his discretion. As part of his meticulous approach to quality control, Carson reportedly maintained detailed notes about interviews he considered unsuccessful or guests who underperformed on the show. Ironically, Carson's concern for preserving his legacy emerged partially in response to NBC's cavalier treatment of his early broadcasts. Upon discovering the network had erased much of his first decade's work, Carson instituted strict archiving practices. He established a sophisticated cataloging system that tracked every episode, storing master tapes in a climate-controlled underground vault in Kansas. This preservation effort created a comprehensive record of American popular culture spanning 3 decades, minus those episodes Carson himself vetoed. Carson's control over reruns fundamentally shaped how future generations would perceive both him and late-night television history. By selectively curating which moments survived, Carson effectively rewrote portions of his professional narrative. This power meant that particularly awkward interviews, heated confrontations with certain guests, or moments where Carson himself appeared less than masterful were systematically removed from public memory, creating a somewhat sanitized version of television history. If there's one thing viewers never realized about Johnny Carson's Tonight Show, it's just how close chaos always was, lurking behind every joke, every interview, every innocent skit. Now, we'll uncover the number 1 most shocking moments they tried to bury. Don't stop watching until the very end. The final moment isn't just surprising. It's the one that left even Johnny Carson speechless. Number 1. The Smothers Brothers' failed bit. Comedy routines don't always land as intended, especially on live television. The Smothers Brothers learned this lesson painfully during an appearance on The Tonight Show that resulted in visible frustration and awkward silence. Tommy Smothers enthusiastically introduced what he claimed was a famous vaudeville routine performed by a comedy duo called Black and Decker in the early 1920s. He insisted George Burns had told him it ranked right up there with Abbott and Costello's Who's on First in comedy history. The premise was deceptively simple. One person says, "My dog had pups." The other asks, "What kind of dog is it?" with the punchline being just female. Tommy claimed this joke once received outstanding ovations nightly. As Tommy attempted to coach his brother through performing the bit, Dick appeared increasingly confused and uncooperative. "You didn't perform it right," Tommy complained when Dick failed to see the humor. The brothers' bickering intensified until Johnny Carson suggested, "We'll be back in a moment." Upon returning, Tommy tried again, dramatically acting out an elaborate street greeting before delivering the punchline, which fell completely flat. The studio audience witnessed an increasingly uncomfortable situation as Tommy grew visibly frustrated with his brother's reluctance. "I don't want to do it anymore," Tommy finally declared. The failed bit illustrated how even veteran performers could misjudge material, creating uncomfortable moments producers couldn't easily edit around. This awkward exchange became memorable precisely because it revealed the genuine tension behind the brothers' comedy partnership. With this, we have come to the end of this video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, do well to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. To enjoy more thrilling stories, click now on the following video that pops up on your screen.